I think we should explore a few solutions.
Grammarly suggestions catch when your tone.
Should I do much research about? Should I choose after my 10th? They say PCM has more scope than PCB. Shall I go for it?
I like biology a lot. What if I couldn't make it in it after 12th? Could I able to face the pressure?
I want to be an IITian or NITian in future and I need good coaching for it. Where do I take my admission in?
Now that my MCET rank is decent enough, so which colleges should I choose for admissions in Vizag?
Do I really want to do engineering or am I just going with the flow? Well, I've always wanted to prepare for civil exams. So what should I do now?
Is CSC really worth all the?
Ravi garu, good evening.
Sir, good evening, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay.
Sir, we'll start in just 5 minutes, sir.
Sure, sir. No problem.
Yeah, sir, good evening. Ravi, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, all. We welcome you to another wonderful webinar today. This is an interesting one as it is the season for admissions and lakhs of students just completed their intermediate, and most of the parents are very anxious to join their kids in various engineering colleges, and they have a lot of questions in their mind. Should we give importance to branch or the college, or which branch of engineering is very tough, which branch of engineering has more scopes? Will all these core branches have jobs in the coming years? Is the only computer science make a lot of difference in the coming years? So parents have a lot of questions of this kind. So we try to answer some of their questions, not if not all, but definitely Dr. Ravi will go into answer such questions which students have in mind. Even we are getting a lot of questions from the students related to colleges and branch of engineering. So that's why we thought of conducting this webinar. And we started this Ed Talk series as a career talk series. We completed 2 webinars, one based on computer science and aeronautical engineering. In the coming weeks, we are going to conduct some more. So I once again welcome you to this wonderful evening for another interesting Ed webinar. So let me take you very briefly. So what exactly Edgroom is all about? Edgroom is a social platform which provides personalized information to the students, parents to make better decisions. Yes, this website is completely personalized. All the registered users are going to get information related to their choices, related to their careers, nothing else. If a student registered as an NPC, definitely is going to receive all the information related to math, physics, and chemistry. If a student registered as a BIPC, he is going to see all the information related to biology. So definitely this website is completely personalized and the information available is very, very unique. And what we provide, as I said, Edgroom provides career guidance to 8th to undergraduate students. Who can join Edgroom? That's an interesting question. This platform is mainly meant for the students who want to build their career, who want to design their careers, who have a lot of question marks in their mind. So students get lot of information related to colleges, courses, and about the career, entrance exams, all that. The next, parents. Every parent nowadays are worried about their kids' future. So definitely, we try to educate the parents through webinars and even a lot of information available to parents also regarding parenting. So definitely, we welcome parents to this wonderful platform where they can understand a lot about the upcoming careers, all that. Then an important component for students' life is the teacher. As a teacher, I know most of the students ask us a lot of questions related to their careers. So they ask us which branch is better or which college is better. Should I choose engineering? Should I go to XYZ? So a teacher should be in a position to answer the questions. Nowadays, students are preparing for various competitive exams. As a teacher, we should update because students are going to question us. Students are going to ask us. For example, a student is preparing for defense exams. He may ask you, sir, what is the syllabus for NDA exam? What is the question paper? What is the model paper? So one should have this information to guide the student who are preparing for the exam. So definitely, Edgroom is a wonderful platform even for the teachers. I request the teachers who are watching this webinar live, please register with us. Update your knowledge related to various careers and courses. To guide the students, we have developed the following tools. The first tool we call the EdNews, where as of today, we have nearly 2,17,000 articles related to education, careers, courses, etc. So as you can see, the moment you just keep the word engineering in the search box, you can see all the content related to that search word. We give guarantee that you will not find these results nowhere. Every information in Edgroom is so accurate your search. So all this information you can easily browse and you can use it and you can consume it. So this EdNews is a place where you can search a lot of information about a career. Even we have provided these filters after a few minutes. After this end of the webinar, I'm going to show you how these filters are going to work out. Then we have one more forum. This is another tool we developed. In this forum, it's a place where a lot of discussion happens. Students can pose the question, students can answer the question, and the experts also will participate in the discussion. For example, you can say how many engineering colleges in Vizag offer BTech in chemical engineering. That was the question posted by MVSP Madhavi, and it was answered by Ayagar Sri Chaitanya. He's an IITian. He's IIT chemistry from. He did chemistry. Engineering from IIT Delhi. So definitely the people who are experts also will answer the questions. So I request all the parents, students, and teachers, please post any doubt that you have related to career or courses. Definitely, you can expect a good answer from one of the people. And if you can answer some of the questions, please answer them. Help the people who are in doubt. So this is a wonderful place where you can exchange your information with the people. Then we have another important place called Edblog, where there is a lot of curated content is there. And thank you, Ravi Garu. With your support, we could build this blog so well. A lot of articles we have shared with the students, and we got wonderful feedback for these blogs. So we are publishing the blogs continuously on various branches of engineering on various topics. So this content is completely curated, and it was, only the experts are building this content. Then we have these Ed webinars. We are conducting webinars consistently on various topics interested to the students, like career options. Then we had lot recently students have written NEET exam. We are getting a lot of feedback about these webinars. They said that these webinars are helping them a lot when they wrote the exams. So we have conducted 7 webinars for JEE Mains exam and 6 webinars for NEET exam. So definitely the tips and suggestions given by the teachers have helped them a lot. This is our statistics as of today. We started this website last year in the month of September 5th on the Teachers' Day. So in the last 11 months or so, we have got this 1780 plus registered users are there with Edgroom right now. And we got 74,000 visitors in the last 7 months. On average, we are getting 2,000 plus visitors to this website on average in a weekly. And as I said, we have 2,17,000 articles in a website, which are very, very, very useful to the students. And even we have a YouTube channel. So far, we have conducted 27 webinars. All these videos can be accessed from YouTube. You can watch the video whenever you want. And we have 550 plus subscribed to our YouTube channel and more than 20,000 views for the videos. This is what, upcoming webinars, we are going to conduct the webinars based in career options in ECE, EEE, mechanical, the branch of engineering. One by one, we are going to cover. And another interesting webinar is going to come in the first week of August. That is IIT JEE the end of life? Most of the students are worried What happens to my future if I don't get into IIT JEE? Will it hamper my future? So definitely we are bringing a good number of students who are not from IITs but still they are successful. So very soon we are going to have that webinar in the month of August. This is what we believe at Edgroom. Don't follow the crowd. Choose a career where you will find happiness and no regret. So I definitely welcome the students to this wonderful community where you can learn lot of information about education and about your career, but don't have any regrets once you have taken the decision. Choose what you like. And I always say this, don't follow the follower. What happens is, most of the parents say that my relatives have joined IITs, or my brother's son is doing MTech in some X and Y college, and we want to send our kids to the same college. I always say, don't follow the follower. If you follow the follower, you may end up in a career where you don't have an interest. I request every student, please create your own path. People will laugh at you if you take a different path, but don't be afraid. Choose what you want. Otherwise, you regret the rest of the life. That's why don't be afraid to choose a different path than others. You need to follow your instincts. I always request the student, choose what you like. And to design your career, join Edgroom now, completely free. And please download the app from the App Store, or you can go to our website edgroom.com and definitely can register completely free. Thank you so much for your time. I don't want to waste much of the time. Thank you, Hari, for joining. I welcome you to this wonderful evening. You are looking nice and handsome in Edgroom t-shirt. Thank you so much for wearing. Ravi Garu, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. And we are getting a lot of feedback once I release the poster. A lot of people are saying Ravi Garu is an excellent speaker. And most of them are watching live in YouTube, sir. Definitely, we are privileged to have you on this platform today. And I hope your suggestions and guidance will help a lot of students and parents. So without wasting much of time, I would like to take the privilege to, introduce Ravi Garu. So, yeah, definitely it's an honor for me to introduce such a great man. Dr. Ravi Saripalle, Director, Center for Innovation and Incubation, Gayatri Vidyaprasad College of Engineering from last 12 years. The center has incubated more than 15 startups and filed more than 45 patents until date. That's an amazing success story, sir. Everybody should clap for Ravi Garu because that's an awesome achievement so far you have done. Ravi is also helping
instruction मिल रहा है वहाँ से
labs. Yeah, thank you. But Ravi is also helping Intelligence Technology Labs and EduTech company developing two products, Skill2030.com, AI-powered metaverse master trainer for advanced communication and interview automation, eGAN Ganga platform, a unified multilingual open source and knowledge and learning platform. Goal is to develop digital learning footprint all students from KG to PG and beyond using concept called ULED, Global Digital Learning ID, similar to Aadhaar for digital learning. Definitely, sir, your ideas are excellent and you are going to achieve the desired results you want. Ravi started Inspire to Innovate I2I storytelling movement. It's an excellent platform, sir. I've seen your blogspot where you have written excellent blogs to inspire a lot of young kids and young people. The goal of this initiative is to inspire students through storytelling and letter writing methods. Ravi is also working as a mentorage, CAI, Center for Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship. I am Ahmedabad and advisory member to few product startups. Thank you so much. Prior to this, Dr. Ravi was working with Wipro Technologies for more than 13 years. Overall, having 24 years of experience in consulting, program management, training and mentoring, managed services, pre-sales, innovation, entrepreneurial development process. Sir, you have so many feathers on your cap. So definitely, sir, you're an awesome person. During his stint at Wipro, Ravi worked extensively on mega outsourcing deals, management consulting assignments, worked with customers across globe like Microsoft, Nokia, Ericsson, FedEx, JP Morgan, Charles Schwab, EMC, Avaya, Oki Tata, etc., and visited many countries on various consulting assignments. Ravi has published IT trends and technical articles in various national and international peer-reviewed journals and newspapers. Ravi has given guest talks at various national international forums like FICCI, DST, India and R&D conferences, ISB, Innovators Conference, panel members at conferences held at IIT Chennai, IIT Delhi, etc., and invited for the Indo-Japan Summit as a speaker. Received the Best Mentor Award at Yuva Summit from Kailas Satyarthi, Nobel Peace Prize winner, Infosys founder Narayan Murthy Garu, Gururaj Deshpande at Deshpande Foundation year 2015. Dr. Ravi did his PhD in Innovation Management, Master of Computer Application from Andhra University, MBA in Human Resource Management, and GMP from IIM Bangalore. Wow, it was excellent profile I've read in recent times, sir. Thank you so much once again for accepting Ravi Garu. It is really a great honor for us to have you on this platform. These kids are very lucky to have, person like you on this wonderful platform. Ravi, Hari, welcome you once again. Now please take over.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Venkatesh, and welcome, Ravi sir. And I hope we'll be definitely having a wonderful evening. And above all, I would also like to add a couple of interesting points of Ravi's character. In fact, out of all, I would like to introduce Ravi sir as a humanist. And though he has got a lot of technological and innovation ideas in his head, above all, he is so interestingly known as a human being, and with his humanistic approach, he has loved and he has got the similar love from many of the students. So this is what I can say before Ravi sir goes to deliver his talk. And after his talk, we would like to talk a few other good things about him. Welcome, sir.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. So how do we do that? Can we have some kind of discussion before, or shall I say something, or shall I share some stories? How do we start?
That is from your side. You can share some stories, sir, that it can be a pep kind of a thing for everybody to understand. And slowly,
because since the topic is why engineering. First of all, why engineering is so fascinating? I think that should be the story. So what I would do is I will share or narrate a very recent incident. I was going through a blog recently by a person named Karthikeya Mangalam. So Karthikeya Mangalam is a IIT Kanpur 4th year electrical engineering student. It was actually, this incident took place maybe in the year 2018. If I don't, if I recollect, I think that is the time frame. So Karthikeya Mangalam, as part of his final project, he was doing his project in Geneva, and he completed that work, and he's returning back to India. He was sitting in a flight, and he was sitting in a particular row, and just 2 rows before, there was a Swiss passenger, and this person was sitting, and Karthikeya Mangalam was closely observing this Swiss passenger. Flight took off. It was almost like a 40 minutes over, and it was in the air. So this Swiss passenger is developing some kind of nervous problems, right? So the white foam is coming out, a lot of sweating coming out. It was kind of a very frenzy moment, and everybody is worried about. Immediately, flight attendant came to that person and asked, "Is there any medical assistance required?" The passenger could not say anything. Immediately, that medical assistant, the flight attendant went to the announcements place and asked all the passengers, "Do you have any doctor inside?" Fortunately, there was one Russian doctor. Immediately, he raised hand and he came to visit this particular person, and he did a very preliminary check and found that this person is a type 1 diabetic, right? So while he was boarding into the flight, since he's a type 1 diabetic, he's supposed to carry this abdomen hooked up the insulin dabba, right? So that should actually push the constantly that insulin has to pump in. Unfortunately, during a security check, he removed that insulin box, which would be hooked up to this abdomen. He removed his belt, all of them, and he kept it in a tray, and body check was done, and he boarded the flight, and he forgot that insulin box. All right. So it was almost like a 2 hours over. The insulin was not going inside. Since he is a type 1 diabetic, a specific insulin has to get injected into the body. Otherwise, the body cannot withstand. So doctor is also a diabetic, but he is carrying a different variety, different make of a insulin. That insulin cannot go inside. This person is carrying a syringe, but doctor insulin cannot fit into this. So the syringe can suck that doctor's insulin and get inside, but that won't work out. So a doctor is trying to do something, and he was actually trying to replace that insulin, which can actually accommodate this. Fortunately, he could able to find another variety of insulin, but the syringe is actually not hooking up into the syringe, is unable to push inside that particular insulin dabba. So this whole incident was closely watched by this Karthikeya Mangalam. Doctor is really struggling hard, and this man is going into unconscious state, and lot of white foam is coming, lot of sweat is coming out, and this was not a great moment. After some time, after 30-40 minutes, Karthikeya Mangalam is a third-year engineering graduate. Look at the kind of guts he has taken. So this man went to that doctor and said, "Sir, is there any way I can help you?" Doctor said, "Are you a doctor?" No, I'm a third-year engineering graduate, currently studying my final year in IIT Kanpur. I just finished my third year. And as part of my final project, I'm actually coming from Switzerland, and I just did it, and that's all. That's my profile. I'm not a doctor. How could you help me? Is there any way can I take that syringe? Because the syringe is not pushing through. It is not like a regular hospital syringe. This is a special syringe. It is a push mechanisms based syringe. So this boy took that syringe, and immediately, without wasting time, see, the engineering is not about a degree. Engineering is not a 4 years curriculum. It is all about presence of mind, right? See that kind of presence, the kind of attitude, the kind of response he has done. So he just took it up, and without talking to doctor, because the time is running kind of running away, right? So he just rushed into the pilot's private space and asked pilot, "Can you open Google for me?" Because for regular passengers, Google is not opened, right? Pilot immediately opened the Google for him, and he immediately typed that name of the syringe inside the Google search box. So he could able to download that the entire manual of that, and he could able to deassemble the entire product 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He just looked at the entire structure and as deassembled a whole product, and he found that a small spring is missing in this whole game. That's all. That is why he's not pushing through properly. So see the kind of presence of mind again, right? Immediately he went to the announcements place and called all the passengers. "Can you give the push point pen, ball pen?" I think the older days, I think we used to have this push ball pen, right? I think nowadays also a lot of people use it. So can you give your ballpoint pens to the flight attendant? She's going to come and collect from all of you. So he could able to bring almost like a 30-40. He could able to collect 30-40 different varieties of pens. He started removing one after other. The springs were removed out, and he could able to put them all of them into the table and sort it. And he could able to bring at least 20 plus varieties of different springs, right? One after other, he was just inserting, and he was trying to see whether this is pushing is working. Fortunately, there is one particular spring, barely, it's not perfect fit, barely it is fitting inside, and it is just pushing inside, and just you can suck it out. Only 2 times it works. That is a kind of a makeshift he could able to make, and he just rushed to the doctor and said, "Sir, you just have to gently push it, suck that insulin, gently push into the body, and that's it. You remove that. That's all. It works only for 2 times. Just do this. Exactly follow my instruction." Doctor was gently pushing into that insulin box, and somehow he could able to suck some insulin and pushed into the body, and that's it. After that, anyway, that was not working properly, right? So everybody went back to their respective seats, and Karthikeya Mangalam back to his own seat. And this man also went to sleep. Lights were off, and back in the process, right? The pilot was actually doing a lot of background thought process. So he was calling ATC control, the air traffic control, and he was trying to see if the flight can be emergency landed in Kabul. So because Kabul is not a right place for at that point of time. So, but still he was trying to do something, and he was talking to various people, see if we can actually do something for this man. Right. Fortunately, there was no such problem, and flight could able to go directly to the New Delhi airport and landed there. As soon as flight landed, everybody stood up. Lights were on, and this man also stood up. And he was actually looking at this side and that side. I think somebody came. He was vaguely remember somebody came, some boy came, and he was doing something. All that. So for Karthikeya Mangalam was closely observing this person, and he immediately went there. So are you, so he could able to guess, yes, I think this is the boy, I think help. So are you the boy, help me? Yes, I am the person. Are you a doctor? No, I'm a third year engineering student, and I just finished my third year, and I'm just entering into fourth year, and I'm an IIT Kanpur graduate. So are you studying some kind of biomedical engineering? No, absolutely no. I'm an electrical engineering, contrast to that entire thing differently. So then how was you were able to help? So, sir, if you want an honest answer, let me tell what exactly the reason for taking up this challenge, right? Then that person said, no, I'm actually looking for that kind of honest answer. Then this boy was saying, during my first year, I was having a subject called engineering design. For most of the times, the engineering design is just viewed as a scoring subject, or just drive some kind of diagrams, and I think it works that way, right? But intuitively, from my childhood, if any product is brought by parents, immediately I deassemble them. I just somehow switch, assemble back and see where they are fitting. And so that's kind of hobby for me, is a passion for me. It is not that I learned something in that. So engineering design also looked at as a not as a scoring subject. I looked at as a three-dimensional view, and every product can be some kind of design, and design works in some structure. So that was a kind of fascinating moment for me. So maybe that intuition might have led me to take up this challenge, and I could able to work out, and the problem is solved. It is not about my education, my engineering connected to this particular problem. No, right? It is general intuition. Probably even I had I have studied something else apart from engineering also, I would have done this and solved this problem, right? So the man hugged him like anything. You saved my life, and I have a huge restaurant in Switzerland. Anytime you come back to Switzerland, you think it is your second home outside India, and you are the man and all that. So both of them went back. They came out of airport, and the Karthikeya Mangalam took him to the nearest hospital, and he could able to give some kind of first aid in a Mendata hospital, and things worked well. And next day, Karthikeya Mangalam wrote all the entire episode in his blog. And fortunately, that is the time I was just reading this entire thing, and I was really appreciating Karthikeya Mangalam. It's not about engineering. It's about passion. It's about intuition. It's about curiosity. It's about doing something, solving some problem. It's about a kind of a human-centered approach for creatively solving a particular problem is what is engineering is all about. So today we are talking about engineering. Yeah, it is of course it is there in the mindset, because we are all coming from a very middle class family, and the Indian psyche is more of a middle class mindset. And for sure, engineering gives us some kind of a job opportunities. Probably engineering is giving us a financial security. Engineering is giving us an employability. Engineering is giving us a professional satisfaction. Engineering is giving us a wide opportunities to go outside India. Engineering is giving us a very good ecosystem environment to work in. So engineering is giving multiple things. That's all is great, right? So that is a very common thinking and the common job. But the real engineering lies in your passion. So the human-centered approach for an experiential innovation is all about engineering. So this is the definition I think design thinking is also taking up, but it intuitively carries that engineering is all about human-centered approach for solving a real-time social problems and bringing some kind of experiential innovation Probably, I think you all have to also look at the important parameters of there should be a desirability by someone. See, suppose an engineer is developing some product, means someone is actually desiring for the product, right? So the product should also have a technology viability. See, I'm an engineer. I want to develop something to take up to the Mars, but it is, if technically not possible, the desire would not help, right? So I have a great desires, but the technology feasibility also looks at from an engineering angle. So we talked about human desirability. We talked about technology feasibility. The third element is it should be business viable, right? Ultimately, someone should be able to buy the product. So today, Elon Musk is developing this space warship, the Mars Starship, right? I think he was trying to develop and all that. But everyone is loving to sit into that and go to the Mars and come back to Earth. Everybody loves it. The human desirability exists, but technology feasibility, I think still it is under mature. It is not yet matured, and it takes some more time. The third element is the business viability. Not everyone can afford to that. Only one Japanese investor, actually, he invested almost $1 billion in that particular product, but not everyone can actually afford and go and come back, right? So when an engineer is looking at is intuitive ideas, right? The idea should also qualify on 3 parameters and bring some kind of a technological feasibility, business, the user desirability, and business viability under a umbrella called experiential innovation. And he also should look at from a human centeredness. See, in 1940s, I think during Second World War, we developed one of the best engineering innovation, which is a time bomb, right? I think atom bomb. But is it really desirable for this kind of existence? Absolutely no. So we cannot develop a technology for a destruction, right? I think human disaster. So we should also look at a human centeredness, right? So you see the kind of parameters we are talking about, right? The human centeredness, business viability, technological feasibility, and business viability, all 4 of them clubbed together. If someone is thinking and if your idea is getting into reality, that is called engineering, right? I'm not talking about a CSE. I'm not talking about EC. I'm not talking about a EEE. I'm not talking about IT. I'm not talking about mechanical. I'm not talking about civil. I'm not talking about chemical. I'm talking about 4 elements of human centeredness, technological feasibility, business viability, and of course, human desirability, right? Of course, when you are actually entering into this game, you require some kind of shape, right? So if you just leave the water, it will go into the shape, whatever the flow goes. But if you put it same water in a glass, probably the glass shape would come in. If the same water is going into a pot, probably pot, right? So to get that, depending on the requirement, we have designed some kind of structures, the vertical structures. Those are all called branches we are talking about. Honestly speaking, very soon, I think it is my hunch, it's my gut feeling, very soon these branches are going to be completely collapsed, or they are going to be submerged, or probably multidisciplinary is going to be a future. Today, a CSE, I think computer science engineering, is a horizontal skill. It is no more a vertical skill. Today, a electronics and communication, an IoT skill is a horizontal skill, is no more a vertical skill, right? Today, a robotics or mechanical robotics, I think there is another branch which has been carved out under mechanical, but is completely horizontal skill, but no more a vertical. To our surprise, I think today the mechanical robotics is being designed under a mechanical engineering department. But in IIT Hyderabad, when I was going through their syllabus and so on, I was appreciating that it is actually carved out by the 5 different departments, right? The department, the first one is a CSE. Of course, a robotics require a kind of automation, industrial automation. So CSE is there, right? It requires an IoT. It requires electronics and communication because the IoT is involved in that. It requires an electrical knowledge because a lot of signals are involved in that. It requires some kind of mathematical modeling because you need to develop a lot of algorithms for a prediction. You need to develop some algorithm for the heuristics, right? So mathematical modeling is required. It also requires a probability and statistics because all the algorithm works on only probability, right? So it is a completely multidisciplinary work, and every department is going to share that 20%, 20%, 20% together is a mechanical robotics, right? So if I say that mechanical robotics is having a great future, you are not ignoring computer science, you are not ignoring ECE, you are not ignoring electrical, you are not ignoring mathematical department, you are also not ignoring the statistical department. So all five clubbed together, plus mechanical is anyway anchoring subject because the material science is very, very important. The mechanical properties, right, are the core of that robot, right? So plus all the other things together is going to be a robotic engineering, right? So that is why tomorrow there is no one single discipline is going to give a future. No, it is all about attitude. You will be there in one anchoring subject. That is what is fascinating you. And that is where you go into the depth, maybe 30%, 40%, but you should touch upon all the other parameters of various multidisciplinary branches, and together it becomes a one point called a product, right? That is the future. That is going to be the line of thinking. Probably, I think there are so many stories. We'll check where exactly we are, and if there are any specific questions, I'm happy to answer.
I think you have been covering very well. In fact, the 21st century important skill, critical thinking, and of course there are other three C's too, are also going along with this critical thinking. As it is critical thinking, definitely engineering comes into the front seat. Hope Ravi sir is trying to make all of us to just brush up our brain, as it has already caught the attention of what this critical thinking all about, especially towards engineering. And he was also very clear with making people understanding it's not CS or it's not EC or it's not some other core engineering part as engineering. Still, the world is looking, especially Indian education system, which has come up with a robust change in the name of National Education Policy 2020. It is expecting a lot from education side, as Ravi sir's wish that comes true maybe within another 1.5 years time, as it is set 23 is experimentation ending period for 2020 National Education Policy. So this critical thinking and interdisciplinary approach that has already started and it has begun, it is coming with high speed. Today, though the innocence made them to pick up one branch of study in the engineering first year, but later they have slowly realized after a couple of semesters, most of the students realized who are pursuing engineering, realized that they are coming up with the right aptitude in understanding how one can go hand in hand. A computer science to graduate undergrad is trying to sit with mechanical engineering graduate, and then both of them are together working for a modeled project. So definitely this is what the talk now, this is what even Ravi sir kind of personality who always is named for his innovation and who is named for his interesting creativity. So anybody else also would love to say something about engineering and would also love to ask Ravi sir. We'll take one or two such kind of ideas, and then after that he'll also jump into the next story.
Yeah, Hari, I was just wanted to share a few things on this.
Yes.
Yeah, Ravi garu, the wonderful introduction and the way you warmed up the show was excellent, because engineering is all about, as you said, it's all about, it's not about the subject, which branch you're doing. It's all about interest. The moment you love what you're doing, you excel in it. Definitely, that's what I believe. So whatever the branch you do, the master is very, very important. The way you said, no more the branches are not important, the interest is more important. Whether you're from civil, even sir, we had a webinar with Chaitanya from the same college, engineering, Gayatri College, a chemical engineer. He said the same thing, sir. When you're building a huge structure, you're building one, it's a big mall, a big shopping complex. A lot of people are involved in it. There you require electrical engineering, civil engineering, mechanical engineering. Nowadays, all the huge structures are the very smart buildings. A lot of smartness is involved in it. So definitely, I think engineering is all about the changing the perspective that you have as of today. And definitely, sir, I believe These are the people only can change the world. And we can see if you go to Dubai, all the marvels that you see, they are the products of the engineers thinking. Nothing else can do it. Nobody can do it, right? So definitely we require students who have this interest to create something. So see, if you look at the recent times, the especially the what you call it as what I can say, flying machines, small flying machines, right? What do you call them?
Drones.
Drones. Thanks for recollecting, Hari. See, sir, in the olden days, if there is some fire accident, there's no way to save the people. We need to wait for the this fire engine, or you cannot predict what is happening inside. Now we can send the drones to picture what is happening inside. We can identify how many people are there. And in one of the webinars, I really love that example, sir. Dr. Shankaraya, he is an expert in machine learning and artificial intelligence. He said, it is very easy to count the number of medicinal plants in a forest. Actually, it is not humanly possible to count each and every plant. We send a drone, we picture every part of the forest, we feed these images to the computer, and we make because every medicinal plant has its own structure. All the inputs will give to this computer, the computer will generate the information. See, this is the wonders of the technology. I really love, sir. Please inspire the students with your words, sir. Thanks so much.
Yeah, just to add what you said, we have a center for drones and IoT and geospatial technology in our campus. One of the companies, I think, again, the student is from our mechanical engineering guy, Mr. Likith Reddy. So he started a company called Yamini Infinity Drones. So what we do in this particular center, we assemble the entire drone on our own, and we rewrite the entire code, the prediction code as well as the precision code as well, right? And the precise landing is also been done. The function is also added now. So we also tied up with a company called Heliware. That's again a Gurgaon-based company. So they provide a lot of APIs to make any image to a three-dimensional view, right? So what we are trying to do is our drone is going to be used for the surveying, right? So during survey, we collect a lot of images and we connect them to the this particular software. And this software is again sitting on another software called Pic4D. So it is for the 3D modeling and so on. Now, precisely, we could able to kind of survey the entire mine or entire forest. Even we can go up to the level of whether a pothole exists on a road or not. Tomorrow, if everything goes well, Indian government may say that every college sitting on the national highway must monitor at least 300 kilometers or 250 kilometers range for the pothole and whether the quality of the road is good or not. So how could we do? Every 3 months we have to do. If such is the case, only it is humanly impossible to manually do this kind of inspection. So what we are trying to develop, the solution which we are trying to develop, this drone would actually do a precise landing. This drone would go and come back and do the entire survey and bring a lot of images, produce a lot of images using our inbuilt software. And finally, we could able to give some kind of analysis, the statistics saying that what level of damage happened, what is the quality of the entire road and so on. So similarly, we are looking at multiple applications. The precise landing itself is into the multiple things, asset monitoring or delivery, the food delivery or medicine delivery. I think a lot of things we are talking about, right? So this whole product is being developed by mechanical engineering. But you know what? The mechanical engineering part is only 20%. The guy is from mechanical engineering. I'm not talking about his percentages and so on because they are not absolutely not great. And I cannot reveal that also now. But this guy is passionate about drones, right? And this boy could able to bring a lot of things outside mechanical engineering. So it got a lot of IoT involved. It got a complete, it is a built on software system itself, right? Because we are looking at a precise landing, we are looking at a prediction, we are looking at image processing, we are looking at connecting to various APIs of Heliware. So everything is again software. And it is also looking at environmental parameters and collecting multiple other things. So it has multiple events generated through the software and IoT. So the mechanical part is 20%, 80% they learned over a period of time. right? So I'm just giving one example of how engineering became so multidisciplinary. This is one part of the story. Another example, because since the topic has come, another boy called Mahesh. I think this boy now won Andhra Pradesh State Higher Education Commission's recent startup in Concave. I think he won the best incubator award, so best startup award. What this boy has developed is a natural fertilizer maker using washing machines, right? So, washing machine is meant for doing some kind of wash. I think we have different functions, right? Like a wool and regular quick 30, or I think we have 7 or 8 functions. Using that logic, what this boy is trying to do is he is developing a natural fertilizer using Subhash Palekar's fertilizer process. Subhash Palekar is from Maharashtra, and he is promoting a natural fertilizer across India and so on. Sikkim, Himachal Pradesh, I think even Andhra Pradesh government was also kind of adopting natural fertilizer, and Maharashtra is also taking up. And he is the kind of brand ambassador for natural fertilizer. But making a natural fertilizer manually by a farmer is impossible thing, because it is a huge tedious process. To make one particular fertilizer for a particular rice make, right? I think it requires a multiple 24 days of one type of rotation, another 24 days, another type of rotation. In between, it should shake here and there. So it is a complete complex logic. Farmer cannot do manually. What this boy has done, using the entire theory of natural fertilizer making, which is the years old problem, or years old theory which we inherently learned, and converted that entire steps into logic called a machine learning, industrial automation kind of function. That's all, using the existing function of washing machine. See the kind of one way we are talking about fertilizer is a actual domain, but the IT became a common element, or the horizontal skill. Here we use computer science, we use electronics, we use IoT, we use programming, and we also use some extent mechanical, because the fertilizer itself is a kind of corrosion and all that, right? We have to take care of certain other elements. Now you see whether this product belongs to mechanical or civil or chemical or electrical. Absolutely no, nobody can distinguish. But somewhere someone should be able to enter, right? The entry point is what I think we need to look at. For that entry, I think we could able to make some kind of divisions, right? Computer science, electronics, mechanical, electrical, and so on. That division, somewhere I think some rationale is required for a government to give some seats, right? That is when they started these entrance exams, and I think people are going according to that. To our surprise, as per the 2022 statistics, 9.35 not graduates, they enrolled into the computer science today as of 2022 is like a massively constructive process, because we don't require so many engineers for a computer science. But of course, because there are so many jobs available and the process is very lucrative, probably I think we are attracting. That is a separate issue. I don't want to get into that particular debate. The next one is actually mechanical engineering with a 6.72. The next one is electronics and communication with 6.11. The next one is again electrical, I think is around 3+ or something. The last one is again the engineer civil is around 4 lakhs, and electrical is around 3 lakhs or something. Together, almost 30 lakh engineers registered. I'm talking about polytechnic as well as engineering together in India as of 2022. Right? This is the registration process. Now, whether we could able to generate so many jobs, IT is only giving a lot of jobs. So this debate is continuing. That is why when we are choosing engineering, don't look at a branch and the number of jobs. How many ideas we could able to generate from these functions, and how we can actually convert the idea to a job also we should look at a point of time. So ultimately, of course, everyone goes to the highest level, right? I think engineering is great for it from an Indian side, because the best of the engineers from India produce, right? They're all the CEOs of the world. Why? Because they are actually able to think logically, they are able to think broad from a broad perspective, and also they're able to manage optimally. That is a very important thing, because of menial resources we have, right? So we could able to manage any product from an optimal perspective. That is how the fascination is also going up. So one thing we need to be very clear is when we are choosing a particular a branch, all right, Just don't look at the nearest job opportunity. Look at from the different dimensions of your natural ability also, and pick up a particular thing. For example, if I'm not mathematically good, right? Ultimately, the worldwide jobs are actually 4 types. One is heads-on jobs. Second one is hands-on jobs. Third one is hearts-on jobs. And fourth one is heels-on jobs. Heads-on means the jobs which are very connected to the head, which is high IQ required, a reasonable EQ required, a reasonable SQ required, a reasonable AQ required. Let me give a definition of each of them. IQ means intellectual quotient. Lot of mathematical ability, lot of mathematical thinking is needed. SQ means social quotient. EQ means emotional quotient. AQ means adversity quotient. These 3 are reasonably required for a head related jobs. Suppose by birth or by your natural ability, if you are having that kind of high IQ, probably you should actually look at the jobs related to heads on. Whether you are from CSE or mechanical or civil doesn't matter there. But ultimately, job in a CSE or job in highest of civil engineering. For example, recently somebody developed a 3D prototyping for the entire dam in China, right? Whether you call them as a civil engineering guy, civil engineering developed the 3D printing for entire dam, or a CSE developed the entire dam, we are confused now. Industry 5.0 will confuse all the jobs tomorrow, right? So what my suggestion at this point of time is, don't harp on these branches and number of packages. They are all byproducts. I'm not saying that. Of course, since government also has to give based on the people preference, right? If somebody is opting, the first ranker opting for CSE, they are just allocating. All that is fine, but the multidisciplinary has to be approached. Whether you are actually heads-on guy or a hands-on guy. Hands-on means equal IQ, equal SQ, equal AQ, equal IQ, EQ, right? So the regular IT jobs of a BPO, KPO, or a very full stack development, we call it as, require a basics of all of them. You need a team mingling experience. You require a basic of IQ level, because you have to develop small logic to automate certain function. And you require a social quotient because you have to live in a team. You require an emotional quotient because you have to manage teams, and you should not be get into the AQ level and all that. That is why the most of the jobs are actually hands-on jobs today available in Indian market, right? The third function is hearts-on jobs. Here, hearts-on means more EQ, more AQ, more SQ, and reasonable IQ, right? The civil servants, right, UPSC, right, require a lot of emotional quotient for them. They should be able to manage the social quotient well. They should be able to manage the adversity quotient. The startups, right? I think the co-founders or founders of any startup requires that adversity quotient very high, right? I think otherwise they can't manage their show. So the more of a CAT and GMAT and management jobs all would come under hearts-on jobs. The last one is heels-on jobs. Suppose you are physically fit and you would not able to stay at one place and sit, right? You don't like that kind of environment. All through you would go here and there. Firefighters, right? The rescue makers, all of them, people who love standing on something and physically do something, right? Those are the people actually go for heels-on jobs. So by this age, they know pretty much whether they belong to heads-on, or they belong to hearts-on, or they belong to hands-on or heels-on. Now you need to choose your branch and relevant job based on these 4 levels, not based on whether CSE would get Amazon 34 lakhs package, or EC would give you a Honeywell 25 lakhs package, or civil engineering gives L&T would pick up immediately, or a mechanical engineer guy would happily get into a gate and he would get into some HPCL and so on. No, don't look at those parameters going further, at least, right? It was a past. I'm not talking about future. I'm at least personally, I'm not believing of that kind of nature in future. Next 4-5 years, things are going to dramatically change, right? So a balanced approach is required. You cannot be like a completely way off from the system, right? So balanced approach is required. You work on certain entrance policy and all that anyway, based on the something, based on your natural ability of heads-on or hearts-on or hands-on or heels-on, pick up a particular role and relevant the branch you should select. That is how the selection process should be. For example, if I don't have a high-end mathematical ability or a probabilistic ability, better I should not get into artificial intelligence and AML course is there. I should not get in. See, today it's a myth. I think I want to openly say this. Artificial intelligence and machine learning, right? So the algorithm is already developed by statistician. Algorithm is developed by mathematician, right? And most of the times we are trying to call that particular algorithm, right? And keeping some filters to that and fine tuning certain parameters and trying to build a closest one. So the entire process requires a two type of people, right? One who can actually develop an algorithm, he's actually mathematician, right? And the one who can call those algorithms is a basics computer science guy, right? If you have a minimum common sense, I think the algorithms can be done. Now, in between, the course has been introduced, someone who can understand the algorithm in deep, someone who can also call a computer science function and fine tune the relevant parameters, the attributes to the suits to the application is what I think his course is meant for. But today, what we are trying to do, the moment you get into that, artificial intelligence is going to take over the entire world, and you are studying a CSI, AML, definitely the future is yours. No, in fact, you should have that mathematical ability to really get into heads-on level. You are talking about two types of jobs. The heads-on part of the AML is actually an algorithm development. The hands-on part of the AML is calling that algorithm, right? Now we are confused between this package versus this package. So we actually think of joining the computer science for this package. Finally, we'll end up this and we'll get frustrated and come out, right? So you need to see very logically where you fit in. God has given us a certain fit, certain make. See, everyone is made of certain features, right? So an Einstein cannot be a American president. He cannot rule the whole over the world. He's meant for a scientific fervor, right? A scientific temperament. An American president is meant for managing the entire world in a different connotation altogether, right? So this man, you cannot, I think in the beginning itself, you said, right, don't go with a regular head process, you go in your way and again merge into that. So you need to see yourself, the self-assessment is missing game, right? So if someone can able to self-assess where we belong to and which branch is more suitable for our this one and start working. Suppose by accident you joined a certain group. Can I make can I recorrect the entire process? Absolutely. That is the opportunity which I'm talking today. Suppose if you are a civil engineering guy, but you are made of a certain mathematical algorithm and computer science fervor is in you, inbuilt in you. You would actually get into the kind of 3D modeling for entire dam which has been built in China recently, right? So the people with the civil engineering background, with an automation experience, with industry 5.0 thought process, and if they can able to make all these things, they can actually fit in because they know a domain, they have the natural ability of developing some algorithms and developing some functional automation and so on. So they would go there. If a mechanical engineering guy, suppose if he's a hardcore mechanical engineering guy who can develop a completely different system of automated process and so on. So the function, see, even today, the age-old make is still there. The most of the software functions only getting upgraded within the car make, right? So more and more, I think recently during Corona times when ICs were actually import was completely stopped, the entire automotive the segment was completely down because 50% of the revenues are actually built based on the ICs which we are importing and so on. So 50% of the work is actually from ECE and computer science today, right? So the mechanical make is only part of that. Maybe if you are too good and you can go deep into that, that is a heads-on job which I are talking about, right? So intuitively, you need to see where you stand between these 4-5 segments and just fit in there and get into any field, any branch, but ultimately you can convert back to the mainstream through this kind of multidisciplinary approach, right? So that is how you should actually position. Today, Google is being managed by a person from a material science engineering background. Pichai is an example, right? An electronics and communication guy from a MIT, Manipal institution, is running a world's best automated office automation product, which is Microsoft, right? It's again a different approach. Elon Musk, I think, don't believe in education at all. Mark Zuckerberg don't believe in education at all. So it is not about a degree and function. Of course, by India is a huge, the numbers which I'm talking, 30 lakh registered users for engineering today means is an unimaginable position we are in, right? Some kind of streamlining required, some kind of process is required. So maybe we kept some verticals to this, right? That's okay. But once you get into vertical, how you convert into an opportunity, it all requires again a different planning altogether. The beginning is a different planning, the process is a different planning, the end would be completely surprise for everyone by the time you come out of the 4 years and so on. That's my hunch, and that's what I believe in the future as well. Maybe at this point of time, couple of stories, then I'll share one last story again, just to commensurate this particular concept.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all wonderful talk so far Ravi sir is making. There are some chats also, maybe. These are some of the charts that are showing, that are telling your approach of saying talents of engineering. To have solutions, one should have a human-centered approach, of course, technical feasibility, business viability, and human desirability. That's all fine. Along with that, there is a kind of a question too. Yeah, data scientist versus machine learning engineer. Maybe these are the titles which make the difference between heads-on or hands-on. Maybe do you accept with this statement? This is what Mr. Vishwanath is trying to ask you.
Yeah.
And
so the first question is, what is the difference between data science and machine learning? Is the first question. Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, see, data science is a bigger concept, right? Machine learning is a tool. Machine learning is an approach to solve a data science problem in a different dimension, right? So if you look at data engineering is actually today, the most of the jobs, I think it's a myth again. Today, there is a company called Modoc, right? It's a data engineering platform. So world is dumping huge data. The data mines are really humongous, right? So all the data has to be cleansed, processed, and bring some kind of meaningful information from them and use it for an application. The 4-step process. The most of the jobs even today are actually exist in the first 3 segment, not on the last segment, right? So data science is all about collecting the data, cleansing the data, putting into the meaningful form, and bringing something. In between, you require a lot of tools. Originally, even today, the data science is being solved using regular SQL statements, right? It's a myth that I think machine learning could always solve the problem. No, machine learning is, of course, is for a predictability point of view. If I want a factual data information, right, I cannot use a predictability, right? So I cannot apply a machine learning algorithm to bring my existing data. It always talks about the futuristic based on some kind of heuristics it develops on a existing data. So even today, the data science works only with the simple SQL statements, right? I think select a star from customer so-and-so, and select instead of star, select a customer Aadhaar number from the tax information, right? I think is what is the data is all about. Now you get a huge data dump. Now a lot of data is junk. How do you identify the junk within this large segment? Solving that problem is called data science, right? So once you solve that problem, then how do you convert into a meaningful information for a futuristic business opportunities is again a data science. Then finally, how do you apply them for a contest to contest, right? In between, lot of times we require a predictability. Otherwise, business is all about future, right? So I have this data. If I apply this data for tomorrow, how can I do some kind of predictability? That is where the machine learning enters into it. Machine learning is one part of the story of entire data science to apply this particular thing and bring some predictability for tomorrow. That's how the machine learning helps data science. But data science is a bigger army. Even today, most of the jobs are actually there in the data science. Unfortunately, to the contrary, when some of the students are coming, should I select first data science group, or actually should I select machine learning group first? Suppose if a college is having both departments, which one should be selected? Unfortunately, it became a norm. I don't know how it has become a norm. People actually select first CSE, then they go for AML, and then they go for data science. But if I'm there, probably if I have both options, I would actually go for a data science first, because that's where at least I can physically see that the entire data and solve certain problem. Then probably if I have an opportunity, I'll use machine learning, right? Machine learning, the AML actually is meant for developing some kind of heuristic algorithm, the top level thing, not for usage. Data science also uses machine learning as a function, not as a development of algorithm. This is a fundamental difference. But these are two segments actually. It's a tool development. It is actually solving a problem. Is actually a problem. Data is a problem, right? Always it creates a problem. So more data, more problems are there. Earlier, we were not having this kind of issue. Now, I think we are running into issues because more and more data, more and more options are coming up. So hence, I think people should look at whether you have more fascination for a data or more fascination for algorithm. Accordingly, you should select one of these. This is the answer for that one.
Yeah.
And the second question, yeah, sir.
Yeah, Ravi garu, I have the one question indeed.
Yes.
Because you said there are 4 varieties of jobs: heads-on, hands-on, hearts-on, and heels-on, right?
Yes.
So the question is that the students are just going by the flow. That's what I said. Don't follow the follower in the beginning itself.
Yes.
So in India, especially in our state, the students are selecting the branches based on some feedback from their family members, right? Somebody says when they're in intermediate, when they're struggling mathematics, there are so many myths about the branches, sir. Because I know the student psyche. Majority of the students, they think that computer science is relatively easy when compared to mechanical. Or computer science has more jobs when compared to mechanical. And they say mechanical is outdated branch. Chemical engineering, no way you are not going to get any jobs at all. Okay. So how a student understand where he fits in? How he understand whether he is a heads-on or a hands-on? Sir, is there any way to identify those sort of things in a student?
Yeah. So I'll give one example so that from example, I think we can easily bring this kind of distinction. Suppose if by accidentally I got into CSE alone. Let's take that. Within the CSE, if I could able to solve a competitive coding problem, I'm actually going for a heads-on job. See, these Amazons, we call it as a FAG companies, right? For Facebook and Apple, Amazon, and Google, Netflix, all that. You look at the kind of problems they give, problem solving only. Ultimately, it's all about problem solving, right? So the kind of problems they give for the entrance exam itself, it will make you really frenzy, right? I think so. If someone could able to solve that level of problem, is actually they're all fit for the heads-on job. Suppose within the computer science again, I'm able to manage understanding a basic programming and able to manage this development of full stack, something like that, right? I'm a reasonably good guy. So I'm actually for a hands-on. Within the computer science again, I'm there in the, I understand the technology. I'm able to manage to develop, but I'm actually developing a lot of ideas and productizing it and selling to customer. Then I should actually pick up a hands-on job. Within the computer science segment, again, if I not fit for any of them, but I run around here and there and all that, maybe I have a little IQ as well. I should actually best fit for a street marketing sales job and get into heels on, right? So even if you get into the one particular branch, according to your natural ability, right? I think you should actually pick up this. For example, people within the computer science, because a lot of people are aspiring for that. Within the computer science, if someone is able to solve Hacker Rank or a Hacker Earth or a Code Chef or a Code Force or a lead code problems, probably they should actually go for a heads-on job. Suppose if they are unable to solve all of them, they go for a regular TCS, Wipro, and the past previous question papers if they understand, and if they could able to solve that level of problems, they are actually fit for hands-on. Suppose even these two segments, and they're able to manage the teams, and they could able to give a best presentation, they could able to develop a small team and participate into multiple hackathons, participate into multiple business pitch competitions and so on. They actually go for a little MBA kind of thing and again get into that, right? Finally, of course, the sales and all that anyway is a separate thing. So, but naturally, one should able to self-assess based on these 4 parameters. Of course, if you just type it in Google also, you get a lot of questions, right? Whether your EQ is high or SQ is high or IQ guy. I think a lot of psychometric questions are there. But naturally, we know where we stand for. Personally, I would never fit into heads-on job, because I don't have that kind of mathematical ability to solve a world of mathematical. The moment I see multiple, I think you are a physics professor, and the moment you see, I see 50, 20 lambdas and some integrations within that. For a simple problem, probably I get confused. Oh my God, this is not my area of interest. But if you tell the same thing in a story format, I am the one person which actually I love it. So it's a naturally we have some inbuilt mechanism. It's a God's driven thing. Of course, through training, some extent will change a little bit and so on. So we should able to self-assess. That is the best technique to get into one of these, right? Beyond that, I think if someone mentor kind of person helps, yes, I think you've been doing like this, maybe it would help you better. Maybe that would be another approach where someone should get in. But there is no hard and fast rule as of now how to get into one of these 4.
Yes, sir. Yes, Sarath has a question, Hari. Sarath,
Yes.
can you unmute yourself and ask the question?
Yes, sir. So, can a person fit in more than one segment job?
Can a person fit into more than one segment? Is that question, right?
Yes, sir.
So definitely,
Yes.
see, that is what I've been telling. So tomorrow there is no single product with one single segment or domain or a specific vertical. Everyone has to touch upon every domain. I think the percentages are varying. That's all. You because of your nature of work, I think you get into that percentage level. But any product you see in the world tomorrow or even today, I think I'm not talking about tomorrow also, today itself, the whole product, I think if you see, everyone has their role. Everyone has their pie. So you need to pick up which pie you belong to and sit there. That's all. But they have to. Unless you know the other pie, the integration would never happen. See, today, the 90% of the problems are actually solved through microservices, right? Even in the regular IT infrastructure point of view, microservices means you develop a small website. For monetization, immediately it will go to PayPal or it will go to some monetization apps and so on, right? So that is developed by a financial consultant with an IT knowledge. You develop that. Suppose you are running a product company, right? A manufacturing product company. You develop the product and your IT department actually developed this whole process. But finally, a financial consultant would actually help you to monetize your product, right? So everyone has a role, and your percentage you need to define and sit there and go deep into that. That's where I think you can excel in.
Ravi, I have one question. Actually, recently I read somewhere a doctor with a mathematics knowledge is that the knowledge of mathematics for a doctor, it is helping them a lot in the research. Okay. And generally we think that doctor shouldn't have any knowledge of mathematics because they're into biology, right? But in research proved that those who have knowledge in mathematics, they excel more when compared to other doctors. So similarly, from your talk, I understand that in the future, a student who is having a one domain knowledge may not going to get the jobs, right? They should develop the knowledge in other domains also as well. Suppose if he's in computer science, only computer knowledge may not help him to get a better job. If he has other domains also, he is going to get a better job. So can I add some more on that, sir?
Yeah. So just I think the same doctor example, today most of the operations I think are robotic process, right? I think completely robotic. You look at some of these the medtech companies, right? Either Siemens or any of these medtech companies, the products which are completely automated for a robotic operation and so on. If a doctor doesn't know much of the product side, right? Probably he would never able to appreciate. For example, ophthalmologists you look at today, an optometric process is completely automated, and doctor should able to visualize. The doctor should able to infer some information from a image processing, right? You look at Vishaka Hospital, immediately doctor would open your eye pictures, and a lot of data would come in, and immediately they'll calculate certain things and come out. If you don't understand that process of the information, right, which is again a data science problem. image is being developed, image processing is being done by computer science guy. A doctor is appreciating the computer science guy, offsetting that, and finally giving some kind of rational, because he got some domain understanding. Using the mathematical data, a domain expert can actually value it better. That's how you need to see the multidisciplinary, right? Suppose I only know mathematics, I don't know anything about domain. What I will do, I will only just do some kind of calculations and I'll solve complex logarithm problems or integration problems, and it has no sense at all. Finally, the same integration or the same differentiation, if you can apply to a real world, that's where Disney actually worked out, that the whole process of the images converting into some kind of animation is all about integration and differentiation problem, right? So I think you go deep into that animation software, you only see a differentiation problems. You only see an integration. Lot of stuff has been there. I think people will be calling that function and they'll just call, okay, create a three-dimensional view for a character like this. But behind that, a lot of mathematics has already gone, right? So just to appreciate, suppose if a picture has to be animated, if so many integrations and so many differentiations have to be done, a small operator, say minuscule, I think not even a 1 centimeter robotic process should go deep into the nerves of the human body and touches the artillery nerves, and finally going there and cleaning the entire wall, coming out safely again to a process where it should be come out. How much of mathematics it has gone inside. You imagine how many neural networks have actually worked out for a small piece to go there and come back, because you are only operating. Doctor is actually intuitively applying a mathematics there to really bring out a safely to come out, right? So see, everywhere everything is there. Depending on your make, you would actually use it for a larger extent or smaller extent. Even a kirana shop guy requires a basic mathematics to function their business function, right? So he uses only a very small calculator and just plus, minus and function, and they do better than a regular mathematician, right? A topmost machine learning guy who sits in a Google office, maybe he develops the entire heuristics from this whole thing, requires a complex mathematical knowledge, but the function exists. There's the kind of gravity and the kind of the level of information needed, I think that varies, that's all.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Let me, Haribabu, I have one question for you. Because you are also a principal from last 15 years in engineering college, one of the best colleges in Isaac.
Yes.
And because see, I think you have seen a lot of students that take admission in a college. Okay. So when you interacted with them, why most of the students are preferring only computer science? Is it because of job guarantee, or is it because they think that it is easy to pass? So what do you say on that, Hari? Why everybody is preferring computer science?
In fact, as Ravi sir always says and then agrees to this, the river current that takes people always along with it. The one who goes against the river current is always to be known as either he is taking the right road or wrong road. As Robert Frost says, the road not taken. In his poem, he says, later, after some time, one realizes this is the less traveled by which I could not take, and I now repent. So this kind of baseline story is also there along with the admission process today. Though I wanted to say openly that this should not happen, I am not able to say, because I'm a teacher who has to really offer what all that the student likes to take. So now, in the case of this computer sciences trend, for that matter, some 4 or 5 years ago, EC was on its own trend. Prior to that, mechanical engineering was on trend. It is not just because students who love to get only a job. Students have a kind of a psyche in their minds that they wanted to really go along with the trend. So as it is bringing a lot of opportunities and very short-term goal that is being fulfilled. As Ravi sir was talking for the past half an hour, highlighting the importance of the future trends. such a way, this is also a trend. The present trend is students who are aspiring to look into computer sciences, which brings them happy life in future. And they also are looking at those jobs that are available, and the trend of doing lot of research with the help of computer sciences. But basically, so many do not know that there is other side also. The other side is looking so deep into engineering. Though we now explain it, they'll be knowing it only little later, but either they are preferring studying computer science engineering or mechanical engineering. Most of them will definitely come forward to think critically, come up with the right approach of what we really wanted as interdisciplinary approach. So this is what I observed, and I also was a little offended in the beginning when kids are coming up, taking up decision, taking up an advice from us in opting for computer sciences or opting for some XYZ branch. This they cannot now understand, and only when they really go deep into, and when they experience that there is a lot of newness in having this interdisciplinary approach, they'll realize then. But for now, the trend is going with the youngsters. I love computer science first and then rest. This is what I basically felt, and there is no point of influence of parents. There is no point of influence of any other side on them. They all love to do it. That best point one has to really realize. When I wanted to be a teacher of English, well in advance, the seed was sown in my mind. Like, I don't know to which part of that analysis of Ravi sir I fit in, but my mind was made up well in the very beginning. Though I have come from a remote town, I wanted to be a teacher, and that too in a language. By then, it was a very fanciful language, and I don't know how far that this is now still, but that was a fanciful language, and I picked it up. So computer sciences, that is the most lovable aspect of students today. Anyway, we wish to have a positive side of thanks for their loving towards engineering. So either in this branch or that branch, let them start studying engineering. They're not going away from engineering. So anyway, there is process, there is approach. Definitely all these engineers have to one day realize that there is integrated approach that has to come, and interdisciplinary approach that has to come. And I hope they will follow this. And then those who also wanted to pick up computer sciences, I say that it is not at all wrong.
Yeah, thank you so much. That is a wonderful. Because I want to quickly hear from Dr. Ravi garu. Sir, my question is, you because both belong to engineering stream, and definitely I represent my students because all the engineering students are going into life, because the intermediate is only 2 years, but engineering is a 4 years course. Once they get in, they have to stay with the branch for 4 years. Sir Ravi garu, why my question is, if everybody is, yes, what happens is when students join intermediate, there's so many factors that influence them to join a particular college. Maybe the first influence is the friendship, sir. Okay. If their friend join some XYZ class, they also want to join XYZ class. Okay. That is the one factor that is influencing. And the other important thing is maybe they look some timings. If this college works only up to 5:30 or 4:30, I want to join. Suppose there is some XYZ college where they will keep this one up to 7:30, I don't want to join them. So there are some hidden factors which help them to decide. Maybe I guess this may be happening with some of the intermediate students who wish to join computer science. If they know what Hari said, if we wanted to, like a lecture in English, if that was intuition, yeah, definitely nobody can stop it, right? One day or other, you are going to excel. But if these intermediate students, do they have that knowledge to decide the future? And my doubt is, are they just following the crowd because everybody is saying the computer is as well having jobs? If I miss the computer science, what will my future? So my question mark is, every student cannot get into computer science. For example, you take Gayatri, you have fixed a number of seats. The next best guy who get the rank in MCET exam, maybe miss the best rank. Even though he's intelligent, he may end up in mechanical or civil. Definitely there'll be in a question mark, there'll be in a doubt. Will I have the same future the computer students is going to have? Sir Ravi Garu, since you are in the Gayatri for almost like a decade, right? So I want to hear from you how the opportunities are there for all the branches of engineering. Are only the computer science are getting more jobs? Are the students, irrespective of the branch, one who's smart in every branch is going to get the branch? This is the most, I mean, everybody has this question. Sir. Please give us an explanation.
Is a valid question, and we cannot ignore the student mindset also, because ultimately every student wants to get places. So we are all, again, I told in the beginning, right? We are from a middle class background. The thought process is immediately get settled first, then innovate. Innovation comes as a burning desire. Burning desire only exists for a 2% in the world itself. Create only, I think why Dr. Haribabu Garu selected English and the creative part of the English, because he belongs to the 2% category, right? So 98% still go after the regular job and regular process and so on. So let's talk about 98%. The what we talked about 2% is fine. Today, the most of the jobs exist only for computer science is it's a fact. Nobody can deny. India requires, let's take 30,000 mechanical engineers per year. We have 30 plus 25 plus are IITs, and another 30, 40 plus NITs and IIITs altogether anyway produces more than 20 to 30,000 of mechanical engineers, civil engineers, electrical engineers, and chemical and so on, right? So already the crowd is sufficient for the national development from a hardcore engineering side, right? The rest of the jobs are actually falling under IT disciplinary or computer science disciplinary or automation disciplinary point of view. That's not about computer science, IT, ECE, because all three belong to the automation, right? So one part is the core, another part is automation. There are two segments in the world, that's all. Whether you want to be part of the automation or whether you want to be part of this. Now let's go to a regular traditional engineering college like any of ours, right? Suppose if we are getting 100 companies, 90 companies are still computer science related companies, right? 10 are related to some core. Even then, because the package is less, people would actually opt for this one. So then even the regular computer science students are not sufficient for the companies who are actually hiring in the current spree. Hence, they're actually going for the non-computer science guy and see if they have the aptitude and problem solving ability to solve a particular computer science problem. That's how the TCS, Wipros, and so on are actually checking. To our surprise, for one company, of course, I'm not talking about a high-end coding because they require a lot of data structures knowledge, a lot of domain understanding within the computer science. So I'm not talking about that segment. In an average package bracket, right, opportunities are equal because almost all companies are actually visiting for everyone except a few, barring some few companies. They won't pick up some from mechanical and chemical and civil and so on. But the opportunity is already equally given, right? So to our surprise, 80% of our electrical engineering students are getting placed in computer science bracket, right? Mechanical engineering students are actually getting selected for same Wipro, TCS, and so on. Civil are getting selected, chemical are getting selected. The opportunity is same for the average bracket. So we don't need to really worry about which branch they get in. Only thing is that because companies are coming to those campuses, they need to select that point of view and see if they can actually get into those. Suppose if they're going for a college where the companies are actually not coming in, but still they have to survive, right? They joined a college where there is no campus selection at all, and they got into the mechanical engineering. How could they survive? Those are the people who have to go for an extra mile of learning on their own, the packages and so on, programming and so on. And they have to be very active on Hacker Earth, Hacker Rank, all that, and Code Chef, the lead code and all that. And they should be able to get into the radar of those companies because TCS, you look at, it's an open challenge. Earlier days, I think 10 years back, TCS used to come only for Gayatri or AU or Geetam. I'm talking about 15, 20. Today, Lendi College is attracting more companies than some of the best colleges today, right? Opportunity is equalized, normalized, right? So in that sense, there is no bias from a computer science side. TCS type of companies or Infosys, they're actually going for a national challenge. Anybody can log in, anybody can enter and end the game, right? So you don't really worry about which branch you belong in. Suppose if you want to go for a job, suppose you are already passionate about your own domain and specific to that, that's anyway, choice is individual. They come into the 2% bracket and they for sure solve the problem through their ideology itself, right? The 98% is getting into the function of automation. See, I'm talking about automation because software is of two types, right? Process software, right? Regular domain specific automation software, engineering software. So you need to get into the engineering software of mechanical, engineering software of electrical, engineering software of civil, and solve those and get into again mainstream engineering stream. Every company has an engineering domain, right? So they actually only work on engineering automation. To our surprise, I think recently Amazon has actually started an engineering division, and there you look at their profile of the kind of people they have taken. All are the world's best mechanical engineers. I know personally one person. He is one of the best IITians from a mechanical engineering, and he worked in internationally in a renowned place and so on. And these are the people who were picked up for their automation side. So industrial automation is the next revolution. That is where the domain expertise plus some kind of regular IT expertise combined together, they should be able to solve. So those people have a much bigger role than regular software guys. We need to pick up. We should be able to identify those elements, and they should be able to start solving problems in that direction.
Yes, sir, there is one burning question people generally ask the students because this is the time of admissions. As I said, everybody worried about where they are going to get, which branch they are going to get. So recently, I got a question. One of the students posted me a question. Sir, I'm getting computer science in Geetam and EC in Gayatri. Okay. The question is, which should I choose? Should I choose computer science in Geetam or EC in Gayatri? The question is, sir, college versus brand. What is your suggestion on that, sir? Which one should I choose?
Very politically influenced question.
Yeah, forget about the colleges, sir. The question is college versus branch.
See, beyond college versus branch, both are kind of neutralized today. Honestly speaking, if I have a money, if I can afford, right? I think, see, it's all about affordability. Opportunities are equalized. Gayatri attracts the same companies as Geetam attracts the same companies. Gayatri ECE people attracts the same kind of companies as good as Geetam ECE students or CSE students attract the same companies. So opportunity is equalized and opportunity is very same. Whereas if you have a better rank, probably with a less cost, Gayatri might actually attract, you can give an opportunity for a overall cost perspective, return on investment, right? If you are having a reasonable rank, but you can also afford, maybe you can explore the Geetam as well. So from a platform side, all the good colleges are trying to give a best opportunities possible. There is absolutely no bias on that. Maybe depending on the weighing capability, right? University versus regular engineering college, they would be able to attract here and there. That is anyway a separate issue. On top of it, individual has to choose based on their individual IQ, again, as I told, not based on this. Suppose if you are able to afford, I say it's an equal opportunity ground today, because companies are going everywhere and they're attracting at all the places, and it's all up to you. How do you grab it? Yes. So otherwise, everybody maintains that 60 to 70% of employment today. You look at NIRF data, it's a very publicly available data. Nobody can deny this. You just have to download the report because it's official. It's a must requirement for every college to display how many people are actually getting selected. Geetam displays, Gayatri displays, AU displays, and LND displays or MVCR displays. Everybody has to display. Just download that PDF file and see how many people enrolled, how many entered into lateral entry, how many got placed. It's a publicly available data. Just see the percentage wise. Everybody is giving at a same pace. Maybe 5% 1 year, one college is down. In another place, another college is down. That's all. Otherwise, the 60 to 70% is averagely maintained by all colleges, thanks to the kind of IT revolution happening in India. But earlier days, yeah, I think maybe the question would have been different. Our future, it would be definitely different. But as of now, since the revolution is still continuing for the next 2 years, maybe 1 or 2 years, for an IT perspective, I think there is no, absolutely no. From an EC angle, you ask, I think no college is able to attract the best EC companies of the world to their campuses. Even today is an honest, brutal truth. And nobody can deny this, because India itself is unable to attract that kind of semiconductor revolution or IC revolution or VLSI revolution. All that is still not happening. Still, we are picking up. Slowly, we are picking up. Even from a best of the VLSI companies or manufacturing IC companies and so on, the research outsourcing to India is still a very marginal component. It's not that big. If that gets expanded and our own IC manufacturing process takes place, then probably I think this number would be expanded. Otherwise, today most of the EC guys or most of CS guys are getting the CSE enabled jobs on, and of course, 10% to 30% still get it into hardcore EC level and so on.
Thank you so much, Ravi. Before we listen a story from you, sir, I just want to take 2 minutes of your time, Harry. Bear with us. You have spent so much of time here, Ravi garu, the evening. You have spent so much time. I just want to take 2 minutes of your time to show exactly how Edgroom is helping. Because you both guys are from engineering colleges. We have developed the products mainly for engineering graduates. There's a lot of content is available. So, Ravi garu, I need your suggestions and feedback on this. We all know that it is at the beginning you said it's a data. Now data is available everywhere. But how structured the data is more important, because the students have limited time. They cannot waste time for searching. So in order to help the student to search the better data, the team at Edgroom has developed this product. Sir, I just, because everybody is interested in Google, I just put the word engineering in Google, as most of us do. We are not competing with Google, but we are only solving a problem. See, if you look at the Google, that's what we get when I put the word engineering here. So most of the data has not given the exact result you intend to read. But the same thing, if a student comes to our website, who is a member of this Edgroom website, if you just come to this and you come to EdNews, as of today, sir, we have 217,000 articles. And in 6 months, we are targeting 10 lakh articles. So we are going to get the best of the information available in this website. Suppose I put the same word engineering here in Edgroom search, you look at the results. So best engineering courses in 2022, everybody would love to read this article, because I want to know what are the new courses available for 12th, job, salary, fees, types of engineering degrees, chemical engineering syllabus, engineering branches, types of civil engineering, biomedical. So every branch that, article that you see is giving you a clear idea of what exact the article is all about. But if you look at on the Google, you're not getting that information. So Edgroom has, made an effort to bring such articles to this website. And sir, now what happens is, suppose if a student is interested in mechanical, for example, I want to the information about the mechanical. See, sir, this is the information we are getting in mechanical engineering. Suppose I do the same search in mechanical here. If you look at the results here, it's a completely different. But the moment we come to Edgroom, where if you look at the results there, it's complete about mechanical engineering, Germany diploma, everything is about mechanical. But here we are not satisfied, sir. Even though the results are very good, but still we are not satisfied. What I have done is, to help the students easily, we have created some filters. So there is one filter called engineering. In that engineering, we have branches, technologies, entrance exam, colleges, and career options. Suppose I want to know more about the branches of engineering. When I spoke to a lot of the students, even some of the faculties working in engineering colleges, they don't have an information about the many branches, because in India, all the branches are not available. but the students want to explore more. Some students ask me, sir, what is robotic engineering? I don't know what exact robotic engineering is all about. What is mechatronics? I don't know about the mechatronics. So when you put this word branches, here we have seen 120 branches of engineering in order. We have kept all the branches of engineering in order. That is, a student can explore here everything about the branches. Now I want to know more about the mechanical. Just click the word core branches. Under these core branches, there are 4 branches: chemical, civil, electrical, mechanical. Again, I just click the word mechanical. The moment I click the mechanical, now if you look at the results here, they're completely different. In the beginning, I got how to do mechanical in Germany. Now what I got, what is mechanical engineering? What is mechanical scope and career options? How do I become mechanical? So here the data was arranged in such a way that the few articles will educate the student who wish to take mechanical engineering. Later, the articles are helping the students who are studying mechanical. And later, the articles are there for career options for the students who are studying mechanical. In that way, we want to keep all the branches. Already we are doing it. And in the future, already we started working on almost we have information, exclusive information related to a lot of branches available. And Hari, I want to quickly know what your feedback on this. Because you are a vice principal, you know well
Yes.
how much information the students need.
Yes, absolutely. This is above all, I can definitely appreciate the bold attempt of Edgroom, which has, I know pretty well about your thought for the past many years, and for that matter, for a couple of decades that we both have traveled on the same path. I well remember that your dream desire that has come as this kind of a platform, and in fact, it is openly available, and that too, it is definitely a problem solver. Surely, but how many of them are taking it as a base, and how many of them are in a position to analyze and then take the research and then taking an admission into engineering? That questions. But anyway, you are filling the gap by conducting these kind of talks, as one that now Ravi sir has done. Similarly, earlier Shankaraya sir and other teachers who have come in discussing the need of the hour. Definitely, if these two are going hand in hand, I hope students will be benefited. And 10 lakhs articles is a very huge
Yeah,
database. It's a huge database. Let's expect that to come true. And as of now, I can say a positive feedback that your platform is doing all the best.
thank you so much, Hari. Thank you so much. Yeah, definitely the students have to do a research before they decide. That is our will. Sir Ravi garu, I want to get a quick feedback on this, sir.
Yeah, so see, during the Ramayana times, right, when Lakshmana became unconscious, right, Jambavata immediately tells, why don't you bring Sanjeevani mountain to get that herb, exact herb. So Lakshmana, Hanuman goes to this particular location, and he forgot completely where exactly this particular herb exists, right? He brings the entire mountain. That is the first episode example you showed. Engineering in Google is the mountain bringing. Then someone has to go to that exact herb and pick up that, right? That is where the Jambavata's role, or the Vaidya Susyana something, I think I forgot his name. He was a Lanka's doctor in those days. He picks up that herb and he treats unconscious this one. That's where your Edgroom is actually working on. So the Google is the mountain, and the exact herb is the what you are trying to build. So
Wonderful, sir.
that
Thank
is
you
my
so much for it. Ravi garu, I just want to know just quick. What is that I2I, sir? Why did you start and how it is influencing the people?
yeah.
Please,
So
you explain it.
yeah, I2A is actually inspired to innovate. So if anyone has to be innovate, right? First of all, someone self-inspired. Unless you are inspired, you never innovate, right? The inspiration comes from both from different angles. I think it could be a positive side or negative side. So when it goes to negative side, we call it as a motivation. Or partly positive side is called as a inspiration. I think beyond that is actually an inspiration. So if someone has to be inspired or innovate, we need to make them inspired. So how do you make inspired? Either through telling stories or to give them some kind of shops or give them some kind of ecosystem, multiple ways. Among all of them, the cheapest methodology is storytelling. We have taken that as a challenge, and we started this Inspire to Innovate storytelling movement, because that's where the easily everybody gets inspired. So through epistolary format letters we started, and that's how we generally reach to the public. And when someone reads, someone hears these kind of words and so on, they'll come back, because they'll actually start thinking their thought process exactly to the story, whether I also fit into that context or not. Then they'll start questioning, they start understanding, they start coming back with a lot of questions and so then the questions, when the questions are answered in a right way and they're touching their heart, then they'll start actually thinking about innovation. Otherwise nobody will become innovator at all. First of all, inspiration is the seed. That seed is what I think we are trying to do through storytelling is one way. There are multiple ways, but it is the cheapest way and the best and most effective way. So that's where we started. It's almost like a 12 years old journey. We've been reaching almost on monthly basis around 20 to 30,000 people through various social media handles and so on. Earlier, probably for till 5 years back, I used to send a physical letters to every district collector, every vice chancellor, every district education officer, DEOs and so on. Almost like I used to send a physical letters of almost like a 200, 300 every day. But it became a too heavy for me also to send those letters, because nobody would anyway not respond. Some of them would respond, yeah, good, we forwarded all that. Then fortunately, the social handles became very easy. That's when okay, it's our job to keep that inspirational part, and whoever picks up, let them pick up kind of mode. That's where we are right now, and started connecting to the multiple platforms, multiple handles, and trying to disseminate this, whatever best, the small thing we could do in this world.
Definitely, sir. Your mission is wonderful. Yeah, definitely. Stories make a lot of difference. Haribab knows well. Hari tells a lot of stories in the class because he's a part of the game. See, sir, the English people have that advantage, sir. Whatever they say, it is a language. But the science people, when we say something, they say this fellow is teaching nonsense because they expect us to teach only physics, right? So, sir, we want to listen one inspiring story before we wind up the show. So thank you so much.
Yeah. So I'll try to connect your science and story together, English story, so that we'll try to close this evening today like this. This is a real incident again took place just 1 year back. It was Jan 18th, 2021. We were into COVID third wave. That is the time a lot of these COVID expresses were opened up, and people were going back to their native places and so on. On Jan 18th, there was an express named Sampark Kranti Express. So this is a train bound from New Delhi to Jabalpur, right? So very few passengers were there in one of the bogie. There were around 7 passengers then in the entire bogie. 3, not 7, I think 9 or 10. 3 were actually one family. They were sitting in one place. There was a person named Sunil Prajapati. He is a handicapped person. He is sitting in a side row, side berth, and the 3 old passengers were on other side. That's all. Train started around 6:30, and it was going very fast, and it has not even reached Madura because it's a 7th. Madura is 2 to 3 hours of journey from New Delhi. So around 7:30 in the evening, Sunil Prajapati is a handicapped person. He was just opened his dinner box and started eating. That is the time he heard a screaming by the one family who was sitting on the other side. The family consists of 3 people. One lady, she's around 29 years old or something. Small girl, her daughter, and her brother. This lady is pregnant, and her due date, the date is given actually 20th January, and she's going to her in-laws place, and she took this train, and next day morning, I think she has to reach Jabalpur, and she wants to deliver baby in their in-laws place. This is the contest. So around 7:30, train is moving fast, and this lady is shouting, crying, and it was literally gruesome. Immediately, Sunil Prajapati closed his dinner box and went to that lady and said, is there any thing which we can do? The lady said, since the train is moving fast, maybe because of that pains are coming, maybe I'll manage it, don't worry. Somehow I have to reach my in-laws place by tomorrow morning. So Sunil came back and again started taking his dinner. And around 8 o'clock or 8:30, 8:15, again, this lady was crying. This time it was unbearable cry. Sunil went there and again inquired and found that I think is an emergency situation. So immediately he called one of his known doctor. She is an ophthalmologist, not a gynecologist, a railway doctor. And he told, I think this is a situation, I think what we should do. The doctor said, what time it is now? So around 8:15. Can you peep in any lights coming up? Can you make a emergency landing because it's an emergency situation? He was peeping into window and found that is a deserted place and forest completely, no light seen. Madura is far away still, nothing he can do. So doctor said it's an emergency situation. Someone has to take an operation. Otherwise it's a very risky proposal. So then who's going to take that risk, right? I think the rest of the other people said he alerted Madras station already. Crew is ready, police were ready, all of them there. But I think train has to move. Suppose if he makes emergency landing there, any other unwanted things might happen because in the middle of jungle, anything could happen. Any ransom can take place, right? It's also not a good advice. So train has to move and something has to be done. This is the kind of situation. Other passengers were discouraging Sunil. Sunil, you are just a BCom graduate. You don't know any medical knowledge, but doing something like this is a very risky proposal for you. So it's impossible for you. I think you are taking risk. Better not to touch this. So, however, Sunil said, end of the day, I'm a human being. Doctor anyway is there in the video call. So let me do whatever best I can. Doctor started giving us some kind of instructions, right? So she said, you require a blade. Where is a blade now? So blade cannot be our regular double-edged blade. So he asked the other passengers, luckily the old person is still carrying that Swiss old blade. I think that was a brand new. Doctor said, we require a thread. See the kind of presence of mind. Engineering is not about education. Immediately this BCom guy with handicapped guy immediately went to his bag, opened his towel and started removing the threads from that. He said, my threads are ready, right? So back in 2009, there was a movie called Three Idiots, right? Amir Khan was starring there and Karishma Kapoor, and this was an IIT contest, right? So professor was always about more marks, theoretical marks, and all that was the professor's game. But these three idiots, I think the three, Amir Khan and Madhavan and all these three people were always about practicals, right? Application. So in the end of the entire story, right, I think professor's daughter, again, in the similar situation, it was heavy raining in the IIT campus. The power was completely power outage, no power at all. Amir Khan brings the car and he removes the battery from that. He brings that vacuum cleaner, and Pia was that the Karishma was actually on the video call in the 2009. See the kind of the director's imagination. 2009, there was no video call messaging facility at all. YouTube was not existing. Video our WhatsApp was not existing. Video call facility was actually came in. WhatsApp video call came in 2014 only. But we were actually have seen she was actually talking in the mobile, and she was giving instruction. Amir was actually doing exactly. He was called as a rancho in that movie, right? So he was exactly following the process, and through vacuum cleaner, he brings out the baby, and things were very happy ending. Professor realizes that it's not a theoretical game. It's always a practical. I discouraged all of you, but finally you guys only helped my girl and so on. See the kind of contrast. Exactly, Sunil Prajapati was in the real contest. That was a real contest. This is a real contest. He was actually given instructions through this video call. And that lady was actually not a gynecologist, she's an ophthalmologist. And she was giving, the threads were ready, blade was ready, baby was removed, bare minimum operation was done, and he could able to reduce the damage of blood bleeding and so on. He alerted the Madras station, it reached Madras station, immediately crew attended and they took her to the nearest hospital, baby was saved, mother was saved, and next day morning, Sunil Prajapati became a national hero, right? So do you think Sunil is a doctor? Do you think Sunil is an engineer? Or do you think Sunil is a humanist? Or do you think Sunil is all in one? I say all in one. Engineering is all about all these disciplines together, solving a certain problem of the world and do something for the real world contest. If you have that attitude of solving a certain problem, engineering becomes a tool. If you don't have that attitude of solving a problem, I bet Within 2 years, they get frustrated after joining the best of the engineering courses, best of the institutions, get frustrated. Finally, they come back and do something which is wild, which is nowhere connected to engineering. They do something farming, or they go for some financial consultancy, or they go for something oil and spilling nature. I think they do all the things what their heart says end of the day, right? But when you are actually clubbing your thought process and engineering from a day one with a human-centered approach, the experiential innovation would be evolved, and that would be the final outcome. That's how the why engineering has to be converted to the kind of a human-centered engineering. So that's where the game should actually go in. That is why IACT also recently, a couple of years back, introduced a course called design thinking. Design thinking is the real definition of design thinking, again, a human-centered approach for engineering innovation or experiential innovation, right? So design thinking goes through a multiple processes, right? Initially, empathy is must require. So someone should able to go through a lot of empathy. Then they should actually go for a synthesis. A lot of data has to be synthesized. Then they should go for a some kind of ideas. They should able to widely give a lot of ideas. Then they should nail down to one or two ideas and develop multiple prototypes. They need to do a SWOT analysis, cost analysis, viability analysis, and all that. Finally, they actually select one product and they have to test it in the market and release it to the market. This is should be the engineering process. They mandated this course in every engineering college, and design thinking became a kind of horizontal course. Every engineering student should actually select a multidisciplinary product. That's how in a Gayatri we mandated. Don't take up your branch specific design thinking problem. You even if you are from a electronics and communications, you have to take up mechanical. Suppose you are from a mechanical, take up only computer science problem. So that is how the multidisciplinary approach to design thinking is been introduced. And if it is been practiced well, probably I think we would see wonders in engineering. That is how we need to structure the entire modeling of engineering, and the people should actually go after the dimension of that. Just the last example, since we are talking about design thinking, in the medical world, the scanning, medical scanning, right? I think MRI scanning is one of the best innovation ever produced by engineering, medical engineering students, right? However, you see from a practical angle, what is the MRI scanning process? Patient would be sleeping on the berth, and that would actually go to the deep into the tunnel, and lights would be off, and rooms are closed. Dark tunnel is created, and only the operator would be there, and no parents, nobody will be there nearby, and it would be switched on, and lot of noise, and 30 minutes he has to go through the entire pain, just because the medical pain is much bigger than the emotional pain. This is absolutely fine from a patient perspective. Look at if a patient is a 5-year-old kid, if they are going through the similar process, already patient is having a health problem. On top of it, parents are not next to there, right? Operator is closing the windows, and the dark tunnel, he is actually taken inside the tunnel, and he has to be there for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, and lights would be off, lot of sounds. 30 minutes, a patient who is already health is been deteriorated, going through this turmoil is not a engineering solution. You know what? Design thinking has been introduced, and recently they started thinking about how to innovate this contest for a human-centered image processing solution or MRI scanning solution. Now, thanks to CSE advancement or the kind of AR/VR technology coming up in the CSE, right? Now, the future MRI scanning, which is going to be launched very soon, the tunnel would be completely AR/VR technology enabled. The patient would go inside, the kid would go inside, they will see an underwater sky experience, a Singapore experience would be given there, or they would get into a Alice and Novel World, Alice, what is that?
Wonderland.
Wonderland. Alice in the Wonderland contest. I think they'll get into that. 30 minutes, they will actually show the entire cartoon in the AR/VR point of view and bring that experience. The psychology would be taken into the experience there, right? The health problem is already checked through the regular imaging process. This is called design thinking vetted innovation, experiential innovation. Engineers should look at from a human angle. Those are the products which are going to be evolved, and this is the future of engineering, and people should look at from all these dimensions together.
Wonderful, sir. Sir, you are versatile, no doubt in it. Okay. And these students at Gayatri are very fortunate, sir, to have you, such a wonderful teacher like you. And I am thinking that if I had a teacher like you, definitely my life would have been different. Okay. Thank you, Ravi garu. You are really.
Thank you so
Srinivas,
much.
I think you are there from the beginning. Can you share your views on that, Ravi sir? Srinivas, are you there? Srinivas? Okay. Hari, last word from you. Let's conclude.
Yeah. What else we can say? 2 hours of time that has been completely consumed, and we were drenched into the very experiential experiences of Ravi sir. And it's not quite new for me, but of course, Edgroom has taken a wonderful decision in inviting this kind of a gentleman. And may God bless you, sir. And the world requires this effort for around other 150 years from your side. So we would love to listen a lot of story from you. And anybody who are there in this particular live session, kindly connect to Ravi sir. He keeps writing a lot of this kind of story, and we are always following you, sir, silently.
A lot
And
of thanks.
we are witnesses of what the success that has to come through this kind of a novel approach of telling story one side and then making people understand what the real side of humanity altogether, engineering or practicable ideology, learning, education, all that is coming through a novel approach. This is how we end up today. And I hope we'll be meeting some other new place. And then we wanted to see the same spirit that continues. Thank you very
Sarath,
much.
I just wanted to hear from you, Sarath, because you are there from. Sir, Sarath is a second year intermediate student. He was there with us for almost 2 hours. We should appreciate him. Sarath, quick response from you. How you felt today?
Firstly, I would like to thank Dr. Ravi sir because the 2 hours that he spent with us are like very useful for a student like me. And also, I've heard somewhere that education is like all about how to think, not what to think. So he's given some of the greatest examples that I've ever learned, heard in my life. So it's like just very nice.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much, sir. Definitely, this is a wonderful webinar we conducted. And thank you so much, Ravi garu, for your patience and time and enlightenment. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for giving us an opportunity. Thank you.
No, sir, you have given us an opportunity, not we. Thank you, sir. I hope you will continue the same love to Edgroom in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
evening once again to all the listeners and who have watched live in YouTube. I thank Ravi garu from core of my heart for accepting our invitation and sharing his wonderful knowledge, sir. Definitely, sir, the students nowadays need people like you because you said the empathy, right? Everybody has knowledge, but they cannot share the way you shared. Okay. So definitely the society needs a teacher like you. We would like to conduct more and more shows like this. And thank you, Haribabu. You are a wonderful teacher and a wonderful human being. And I'm very fortunate to have a friend like you. And Sarath, thank you for being patient, so patient enough to stay for 2 hours with us in the discussion. I thank all the people who have watched this webinar live. Thank you once again. Let's catch up the next week. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Srinivas, you want to add anything? Srinivas, are you there? Okay. Thank you so much, and all the best.